Welcome to another episode of the Let's Think About It podcast. I'm your host, Coach Mo, and I'm here with another exciting guest, my man, longtime friend, my brother, my dog,
Yes,
Jason Dillard,
yes.
aka JD in the house. What's up, bro?
What's going on, Coach Mo? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm great, man. I'm doing even better that you're here. You're on the show. You're going to represent. But first, I got a tradition that I share with all my audience. You got to tell us where you're popping in from.
Oh, I'm here in Sacramento, California. I'm actually in my classroom in Del Paso Heights, and man, we represent, so it's all good.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Most people don't know me and Jay go back over 30 years. We played football together. We from the
Yeah,
same hometown. It's
yeah,
all good. We from Oakland, the whole nine. But
yeah.
there's much love right now. There's much excitement. There's much joy that I'm feeling right now having you on the show representing.
Mhm.
That being said, tell my audience about who you are, what you do, and the type of value you bring to the people
Mm,
you serve.
absolutely, man. I'm very blessed. I am a father of three daughters, been married 24 years. I do cultural proficiency work. I'm an educational consultant, and I also work with sports programs as well, helping coaches just bring out the best version of themselves for the student athletes that they work with. And so in schools, I work with students, whether it's at the high school level or the middle school level, helping them focus on looking at things through a culturally proficient lens, helping them develop leadership skills, allyship, and advocacy skills, right? Learning them, teaching them how to advocate for themselves and others in education.
Okay, that's great, man. That's great.
Yeah.
So, Jay, what was the journey? What made
Wow.
you say,
Yeah. I've done so many different things. I'm like the master of footwork in the paint. I'll pivot with the best of them. You know what I mean? Like the Hakeem Dream Shake. So I've gone from selling real estate at one point. I've been a sports agent representing NFL players, but I truly believe I've been a minister in the past at a Baptist church, right? So a lot of people know me as a lot of different things, but at the core of it was always service, right? And so wanting to help people accomplish their dreams, God has led me down this road through some of the adversity that I faced as a parent, as an adult, really just giving me the compassion and empathy to pour into those who may not have it, may not have it in their own homes. Man, I tell people all the time, we post on social media and we always post the good stuff, but a lot of life is happening in between those pictures. And it's the stuff that's happened in between the pictures in my own personal life that's led me down this path to really make sure that our schools and our locker rooms are safe spaces for everybody to feel included and that they belong. And it's a incredible journey being a guy like yourself from North Oakland, the way that we grew up, when we grew up in the 80s and the 90s, mental health was never a thing, right? We said you rub some dirt on it. Oh, you
right?
hurt? Shake it off. I can hear 1990s Mo Mabry saying, get over it. But these kids aren't built the way that we were built. And I say that and still understand that there's another level of compassion to
Right.
help them get from point A to point B. And it's upon us as adults and leaders to help them figure it out.
That's a good point, man, because when we were on a come up, on the rise, even as teenagers and or even in our early 20s, we were taught you don't share your feelings, you don't talk about your feelings. Like what you said, you just suck it up and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
But in today's time, we're in just a different world. It's a different animal. And when you, especially when you start to include social media and how everybody is glued to the phone, right? We would just be outside playing. And
Right.
that was our camaraderie. But now the camaraderie is I'm gonna text you or I gotta do a post on
right?
social media before I even connect with someone, right? Talk to me about that dynamic, being in the
Mhm.
sports mindset, working with coaches and their kids and their athletes.
Mhm.
Was that integrated into your type of consulting and teaching?
Definitely. In the sports world, being a former youth coach myself, being a college football player at UC Davis, being a former NFL sports agent, having experience working with the Oakland Raiders in their personnel department, I bring a wide variety of perspectives. When I raised my daughters, who all were able to achieve success academically and athletically, right? I have a daughter, Naila, who got a full basketball scholarship. Her twin sister, Naomi, got a full academic scholarship. And then the youngest one received a full athletic scholarship and then accepted a full academic scholarship. And as I really looked back at it, I said, everybody doesn't have the same level of advocacy and support that my daughters had. That's something that I want to empower other parents and give those student athletes a level of care that's directed primarily towards them individually. And so you and I played college football for coaches who we didn't always know they had our best interest in mind. Like we were
Right.
cool with our coaches, but do I trust my coach? So it came from a real place of introspection that I had to do to really understand what's motivating me to work with these coaches, because I wanted these coaches that I interact with to really be the best version of themselves and understand not only their why, but then understand and develop the how and the where. And so there's levels to it. So the best coaches are prepared, they're confident, and they're very clear communicators. The worst coaches are unprepared and they aren't confident and they don't
Pretty.
communicate well. They might backdoor you. Like,
Right.
what you mean I'm not starting or that kind of stuff. And so you like the worst coaches, you feel like they won't even make eye contact with you. You know, they squirrely. And understanding that the majority of athletes finish playing sports and they have a negative outlook on their experience, I really want to dive into coaches and help coaches develop coaching philosophies and mantras and branding and really be the best version of themselves and be confident and have the impact that we need our coaches to have on our students.
That's an interesting viewpoint because I'm going back to myself, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because I played high school football, balled out, college
mm-hmm,
football, balled out, but not really attached to the alumni of the programs that I came from. And I think when I reflect on that, just listening to you, it does tie back to your experience of going through the process of being an athlete in that
mm-hmm,
situation, right? Of
mm-hmm,
those schools. And looking at Davis, because that's where I balled out at, right?
mm-hmm.
And just like you said, the coach really got my back. Oh
Right.
no. Then you look at the national Power Five conferences of athletes that come out of those programs and the alumni of athletes that just go back to serve and be a part of the program. And that connection has been lost for
Is
me.
that's a real pain point. And for your audience, let's be clear. Mo Mabry was an All-American college football player. Mo Mabry was an incredible college safety, right? Who we all believed should have played in the NFL. When I finished at Davis, I got into minicamp with the Oakland Raiders. My coach didn't know anything about that opportunity because my coach at the time had no real vested interest in seeing me succeed outside of his program, as amazing as that sounds. And so, as I'm in Alameda at the Raiders training facility with Daryl Russell and Napoleon Kaufman and all of these guys who I looked up to. This is what it looks and feels like when you have everything lined up in your direction, right? Not to mention how incredibly talented those guys were. The
Right.
point is, you never know where you can end up with a little support.
Yeah, you're right, man, because I remember vividly, and I don't think I've told many people this story, but I remember going to the head coach at Davis, and I said, I want to play in the league. I want to take that next step. What do I need to do? How do I get ready? And this was like my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he said? Oh, don't worry about that. We'll deal with that when that time comes. So
Mm-hmm.
guess what? I balled out my senior year. That time came. I was like, what's up? Oh, just focus on education. You serve the program and just make sure you get your degree.
Right.
And guess what? From that point on, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what it took to get an agent. I didn't know that how to invest in me. Nobody even knows that I was selected to an all-star game, all in the all-star game. No coaches or anybody supported me. I couldn't even afford, I had to pay my own ticket to go to the game. I couldn't afford it, so I didn't go to the game. I didn't play because I didn't have the dough to go.
Are
And
you
other
serious?
key athletes at the time on the team, right? It was three of us. I ain't gonna say no names, but those two athletes were able to come up with the funding. My background, I didn't have that funding. So
Mo.
powerful, it's powerful for what you're doing, Jason, just real talk, because as an athlete, a young African American male,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
no true role models,
Yep.
figuring it out as you go, and then you think the program has your back, and you get to that pivotal point in your life where you're ready to make that transition, and it's no, we can't help you.
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason. I believe that, right?
Absolutely.
It's shaped my journey. But on your front,
Yeah.
what you're doing, I think is powerful, man.
It's a powerful conversation. It's a much needed dialogue because we coming from communities where we've come from and we don't have the same resources, right? And it's the whole equality versus equity conversation. It's like Mo and his two white teammates all have equal access to this all-star game that they've been selected for. Now, what the program should have done is say, Mo can't afford to get there, so we're going to pay. We're going to give Mo more support because he needs it. It's the right thing to do. Unfortunately, that's what has happened time and time again to us on the field and off the field, right? Everybody has access to the SAT. Everybody has access to the PSAT, right? But does everybody have access to the training materials that it takes to be really good at taking that test? And I'm passionate because I have lived with that pain. You were coming up and you were a role model for me. You wearing the gold boots, the gold cleats. There were two guys who I looked up to. It was you and Larry Allen at Sonoma State. Those were the guys to me. And when I played my freshman year, and then I looked at my school schedule and I realized I was on track to graduate in 5 years. But the way they had me scheduled, I was going to be done playing in 4 years.
Right.
They weren't going to redshirt me ever. I just couldn't imagine myself walking around UC Davis having completed all my eligibility and still having another year to go to school. So I redshirted on my own. And when I did that, I ruined my relationship with the coach.
Ah,
You
yep.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I didn't have the mentor, I didn't have the guidance, I didn't have people saying, so I had to look at it on my own as a 19-year-old. How am I going to survive through this program? And
Right.
so the work that I'm doing now, working with the kids on one end, but on the other end, working with the coaches to help them understand how to best serve the students like you and I.
So how do you create that awareness for those coaches that they are better prepared to work with the dynamics of student athletes like you, yourself and I?
So it's all about building the culture that all students and student athletes can thrive in. And so culture is about more than race. It's about norms and traditions and practices. And culture is something that you can control. And so the goal is to help these coaches develop a culture where winning is a byproduct of the culture that they create. So some people are going to win because they just got talented players.
Right.
Other coaches are going to win because it's a product of the work they put in the off season, right? You building relationships with coaches. Like I remember in high school, there was a coach named Tom Keating who played for the Oakland Raiders. And his son Ryan was my teammate at St. Mary's College and High School in Berkeley, right? So my freshman year, I'm playing middle linebacker, and I had never played football before. And
Okay.
one day we're doing this drill, and you're reading the guard and then hitting the running back, right? And so I'm meeting the running back in the hole, and I'm just hitting him, right? It clicked for me. So I hit this running back one time, and Big Tom Keating said, Dillard, you would run through a wall if I asked you to. And just that empowerment, man, put a battery in my back. And that
Right.
stuck with me to this day. What happens when a coach gives you positive affirmations? When a coach tells a athlete that he believes in them. And we have the power to do that in all of our roles as parents, as coaches, as mentors. Man, I believe in you. Once a person know that you believe in them, it ain't no telling what they can do.
Man, I'm gonna flip to the other side of it though, right? The
Mhm.
student side and how important in what you're saying in regards to creating culture in these programs. The amount of fear that kids carry, that I
Mhm.
carry as a student athlete. I think the culture really can help set the stage for people as they move on past the program and
Yes.
just in that avenue of dealing with adversity and the fears that we all deal with, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to touch back on this because I was an athlete
Mm-hmm.
and going through the program that I went through at Davis, that structure didn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being a young African American male with no older role models,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's looking to me from the athletic standpoint, like I didn't really have that person that I looked up to from a
Mm-hmm.
standpoint because those guys had already graduated and just moved on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So certain fears, adversity show up, but you don't really have a structured way of approaching it. And it
Right.
starts to affect you in your mid 20s, early 30s because it's never been addressed.
Absolutely.
And you just carry it. That's the foundation around what this podcast is too. Like, how are you overcoming your fears and how do you tame that punk ass inner critic, right?
The more you know, the better, right? And tragically, a lot of these kids are just like you and I were at their age. You have this anxiety, right? In our community, people struggle to identify themselves. Who are you? Where are you headed? What's happening, right? So I'm a freshman, I'm a sophomore, I'm a junior, and now the noise is getting louder and louder. I'm a senior, and then now what? And without, like you said, in your case, without having somebody to answer those questions and without having somebody that you trusted to ask those questions to, one of the greatest players I've ever been around just got a job and started working. That's what you did because people were going to say, okay, Mo, you graduated. Now what?
Now what?
Now what? And so our high school students have those same anxiety. Freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, in the gang intervention and prevention work that I do that work with a nonprofit organization called Academics for Athletes, centered here in Del Paso Heights. We were one of 4 organizations to receive a grant from the city of Sacramento to do gang intervention and prevention work. We do an annual gang summit at Grant High School with Mayor Steinberg. This will be year 3 coming up with Mayor Steinberg. I'm actually doing that next week, May 22nd. But I said all that to say, in our schools, our kids are identified as what grade you're in. So-and-so is a junior, so-and-so is a senior. Okay, now what are you doing? I'm rapping. I'm making beats. I'm doing YouTube. I created a YouTube channel. I'm a content creator. Everybody is struggling to try to identify with something, right? And that noise has led us down a path of like pretty much destruction because, like you said, going back to the social media conversation, they expect everything to be
immediate.
And so I'm trying to get our youth to understand these are questions that you can start asking early. I want to expose them to different realities as early as possible, alternative programming, so that they can begin to envision themselves moving in more profitable directions, right? And it's a real pain point because I know what it looks and feels like to not have that clear direction. And it's something that I need our coaches to assist student athletes. What you described is what I tell these coaches all the time. You can either develop or you can use.
Yep.
A lot of us just felt like we were used.
We were used. I was used.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no connection to my alumni association and the program.
It's a shame that seen it like with my class, right? Now, I, like nobody else in my class, touched the NFL field. They never put on an NFL helmet, been in an NFL locker room. But you know how many of those guys ended up in coaching and got nods from our head coach? Nobody ever talked to me about being a GA. Hey, you can be a GA and work on your master's degree.
Nobody told me that either.
I didn't have that level of support. And so I'm asking coaches, who are you coaching? Or you should be coaching future yous.
Right.
Just like when you spend time with your daughter, you're instilling in her all the ethics and morals and perspective that you learned from your mom, right? You passing that down.
Absolutely.
We were never included in that family tree, in that program. And so that's something that I'm working with these coaches I'm passionate about, because I don't want our student athletes to be tolerated. I want them to be valued. And so we talk about what it looks like and feels like to be valued in a program.
And I appreciate that. I really do appreciate the work that you're doing. But tell me, how do you get your foot in the door? How do you connect with these coaches so that they know more about Dillard Consulting?
Right now, I'm blessed to have a contract with Twin Rivers Unified School District. Okay. And we've been modeling what it looks like. I'm in partnership with the district athletic director, because at a school, you will have some programs that's just up and rolling, and that's the flagship, whether it's football or basketball. Then you'll have other sports programs that's really struggling. People ain't really even trying out for the team. The coaches can't be consistent in terms of their assistant coaches, stuff like that. So it's okay, how do you build these cultures in the programs that's struggling to get them to rise up to where the flagship program is? So it's giving them tools that they can use. Helping the coaches develop a coaching philosophy is having conversations with athletic directors, our coaches receive very little professional development. And teachers receive a lot of professional development. But the reality is coaches have so much more of a profound impact on a student athlete's life because sports is still the carrot.
Yep.
A teacher can only make you rewrite that paper so many times before you say, forget it. The coach can say, get on that line and do it again. And you're going to do it again. And you're going to go way farther past what you felt like doing because the coach has that leverage. It's helping coaches realize how critical their role is. And yeah, it's getting with other school administrators, school superintendents, district athletic directors, maybe school athletic directors, and helping them realize that our student athletes are better if we invest in our coaches and build them up so that athletes don't feel like they have to do it on their own. There's a synergy, sadly, between our athletic programs and what's happening in the streets. A lot of people who fall victim to the streets are former athletes. They are competitors.
Man.
They may have been the backup point guard, but they want to, we got to help them understand you may not be the starting point guard, but there's still an opportunity for you because this is bigger than just ball. This is life that we're talking about. And I'm going to help you have a profitable life. It's not just a matter of, I only need one point guard. So if you don't make it, good luck in life.
It's the foundation, really, because you're talking, 15 to 18, where you're really creating that foundation of what's next.
Absolutely.
That what if effect. Mm-hmm. What can I do next after whatever the sport is that I'm playing?
Absolutely.
Which is so impactful, man. Yeah. And what about, because I have a lot of my listeners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their parents, they got kids, right? Sure, they got some kids that are some athletes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you work with
parents
independently, or parents or families independently, or they got to go to school, or how does that dynamic?
So I just started a nonprofit called the North Sacramento Sports Commission, where we're going to be doing seminars for parents. I'm working with players individually, and there's so many different aspects to this journey, Mo. Like, we really could talk for the next 5 hours. Like, I had a daughter play Division I high major college basketball, right? And I know a lot of Division I college basketball players and parents. And before you get there, you think that's the pinnacle, that's the holy grail, right? To get a college basketball scholarship. When you get there, you realize it ain't all that you thought it was cracked up to be. Then it's okay, now I'm just trying to make it through. The same way that the same pain that you and I felt at Davis, man, Cal, Stanford, UCLA, wherever you play. So yes, I want to share that information with families because things happen along the way that's out of your control, right? Yeah, if Naila is out there, Naila freshman year at Texas Tech, she hit 2 threes against Baylor. Baylor had just won the national championship the year before. This is my dream. My daughter is balling on the biggest stage, right? Against the best All-American players, the defending national champions in their building, and she knocking down jumpers using the form that I taught her, right? We all envision that, but it's how do you handle when you get hurt?
Yes.
When that ACL gets torn. Yes. And then you gotta rehab, and how do you communicate with the trainer, and do you have to use their team doctor, and the coaches kick you to the side because you're not playing this year. And So there's so many different things to it. And I'm definitely open to working with parents and helping them navigate the journey because I've been there. But it's very important that your listeners know they're only facing what other men have met.
Yes. Yes.
So it's advocate for your child. Your child has parents. Don't ever let nobody tell you you need to move out the way, because that is absolutely crazy. Nobody told Archie Manning to move out the way. Nobody told Andrew Luck's dad to move out the way. So let's cut out all this vilifying parents. There has to be some trust, but trust takes time. And so I'm all for parents get to know some of these coaches and really stare down the situation, because some of these coaches need a whole lot of help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jay, how do parents, school administrators get a hold of you?
Okay, so I have a website. It's called dillardconsultinggroup.org. dillardconsultinggroup.org. You can reach me there. All my contact information is on the website. I'm also on LinkedIn, Jason Dillard on LinkedIn. You can see my profile there. I'm also on Instagram, jdill_will. And that's just a play on words because I just believe in myself. So it's just jdill_will. But the website is the best way to reach me. And yeah, I'm either in a gym or on a court or walking across a campus near you. Man, just trying to give other people the best experiences possible, because of what you and I experienced. I believe that God has given us what he gave us for a reason. And so just like you now, when you talk about attacking that fear, right? It's understanding where I came from and refusing to go back.
Absolutely.
And saying, I'm going to make things better for my kids. And I was able to do that. And now I'm passionate about doing that for other people's kids.
Man, I appreciate you. I just want to say I'm proud of you. You're a man that walk with extreme high integrity, family first, manhood, all of those great things, man. Appreciate you. Any last words you would like to leave for the audience before we sign off?
Absolutely. Tough, because you realize that there's not a lot of people who actually care about other people. And so it's all about service, man. I realize, like, I have a lot of momentum right now in business and just in life in general. And I found that pouring into other people is profitable. I'm not just talking about money. I'm saying that I'm a man of faith, and I believe that God honors the service and the work that I do for his people. And so that's the motivation to keep me moving forward, man. Everybody just know somebody else has been there before and has the answers to the questions you have. So there it is.
There it is. There it is, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on. Anything that you need and support from me, doing work that you're doing, just let me know there. I got you.
Definitely, man. I know that you got my back. So we're just going to continue moving forward together. That's a commitment that we have. We go way back, and it only makes sense. So yeah, it's all good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.